Coming up on this episode of Talk Mess with Adrian, we speak to Tabbi Katt, the All-American Goddess Queen at the moment, and we discuss what her reign has been like and what she looks forward to in the future. That and much more on Talk Mess with Adrian.
Hello.
Hello, may I speak to Tabbi Katt?
Hey, this is she.
Hey, this is Adrian. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's it going today?
All right. Kind of a long day, but hey, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you finally. Miss All-American Goddess. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's still kind of soaking in, I think.
Yeah, but girl, the pictures and promos are caliente.
Well, one was a little bit
One was like, I was like, all right, yes.
I have to give credit to Michael. He was like, I have an idea. And I was like, listen, if you need me to take my clothes off, I'm here for it.
Yeah, good old Mr. Michael. But anyways, so welcome to the show. So we're going to go ahead and get started. My first question for you is, how did Tabbi Katt come to be?
You know, I never envisioned myself doing drag. I grew up in a bunch of little small towns, but I ended up in St. Louis shortly after coming home off of working on a cruise ship as a dancer-singer. And the drag queens in town scooped me up right away. They were like, oh, we have a 21-year-old little gay boy that knows how to dance. This is perfect for the pageant world. And so that's what I did for, 5, 6, almost 7 years, I guess.
Okay.
And then, you know, I had a history of working as a makeup artist and doing hair. And so one day they were like, this is kind of silly for you to be like in the background, like giving us jazz hands when you kind of already know a lot of what's going on. And so I did a show, and thanks to connections, started working right away.
Okay.
A very lucky fluke.
No. That's definitely awesome. Let me ask you, so where are you originally from?
Always a hard question to answer because I live in the Midwest, and you know everyone's born and raised here. But I was born in southern Missouri, and when we were about 6 months old, moved out to very rural Arizona.
Oh wow!
But moved around to a lot of little small places, probably every year or so. Back to Missouri then when I was a junior in high school, and then I've traveled all around. So I say St. Louis is home, but as far as originality goes, I mean it's a coin toss. Gotcha.
Now, was it hard growing up and being from a rural area and having any support?
You know, I feel like yes and no. I didn't come out until I had just turned 21. My family is very religious. My dad's a Pentecostal pastor. So the idea of gay, outside of, this is a sin and you're going to burn forever in hell, wasn't really a thing. And so it wasn't until I had gone off to college and started, dancing and like meeting people, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's like a whole world of people who like think like me. And I started to understand why I had never really felt quite right at home with everything.
Gotcha.
So it was a little different for me, but I definitely got bullied and teased just by being perceived as being more feminine or more gay. But I have a really amazing mother, and as much as I don't really subscribe to my father's beliefs, he's a really great guy, and he always takes good care of me.
Gotcha. So let me ask you, where did the name Tabbi Katt come from?
One of my best friends was doing drag. She was the first queen that I had backup dance for, and her name was Alley Katt. And so when I decided to do a show, I was like, well, I'll be Tabbi Katt. And then when I was going to do it for real, I was going to change it to Tabitha so that I could be very like formal. But nobody was having that, so it just stuck at Tabby.
Oh no, I actually got to first see you perform. I think it was maybe a year or two ago when you did AAG last year, correct? Or, I mean, the year before. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because that's how I really got to know you. I was like, oh, she is very impressive. So, awesome.
Thank you.
No. So what we're going to do is going to take a little break, and we'll be right back on Talk Mess with Adrian, and Tabbi Katt is our special guest.
Hey everybody, this is Genesis, and you're listening to Talk Mess.
And we're back. Well, on the phone with me, I have Tabbi Katt, All-American Goddess. And Tabbi, we know you won All-American Goddess. Where are some other titles that you've won in the past?
My first title was Missouri US of A in 2009.
Okay.
Right after I started performing. And then I went on I traveled around a little bit. So I was Miss Ohio US of A in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was back in Missouri. I had a little streak there where I was Missouri America in 2017, Missouri EOY in 2019, and then Missouri AAG in 2020, like over the COVID time frame is when I became Missouri AAG. And that was my first time actually going to AAG then.
Oh, okay. Okay, I gotcha. All right. Now, let me ask you, when you competed in AAG this year, what was one thing that stood out to you during the competition? Anything in particular backstage with the contestants, with AAG in general? Anything that stood out?
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to be around pageants a lot of times and be backstage at a lot of the big pageants. And AAG just felt different for me, specifically this year, because I had a couple of years of getting to know people.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just such a feeling of like, we're all in this together that really stood out for me.
Okay.
I know I was loaning things to contestants, and contestants were loaning dressers to me, and we really felt like we were competing together versus competing against one another, and that really stuck out to me.
Okay, cool. Now, let me ask you, if I was to compete for All-American Goddess, what's one thing that I should know before going in and competing? What advice would you give to me?
I would say trust yourself and just genuinely, authentically lean into who you are and what makes you special. We have changed over in the past couple of years. We're no longer a ranking and comparative system. So
Mm-hmm.
it's cumulative points that are available. But interview and talent are both such high scoring categories that if the judges can't connect with you and can't understand who you are through the authenticity of your performance or through the vulnerability of your interview, it's hard to pick up those very much needed points.
Right.
I think that just being yourself is important everywhere, but especially true in AAG, I believe.
Okay, now, what is going to be your platform for the year? If anything, what's going to be your major focus for us?
One of the things that I'm really focused on because of my career during the day as a mental health therapist is just focusing on taking time for yourself and having a passion for yourself and reaching out when you need help.
Mm-hmm.
I work for, I coach people who take calls for the suicide lifeline through 988, and that's super important to me. I don't think we talk about suicide specifically in our community enough, and so that would be a goal of mine to normalize that. But then also we're at a rough time right now in the country, and so the idea of let's not talk about politics and religion just isn't going to float anymore. So it's time that we're encouraging people to vote, and we're making sure that it is the topic of conversation within our community and with everyone we encounter.
I will say this, your voice definitely sounds like someone that I would listen to on a hotline, or not a hotline, listen to me, Jesus Christ, but in a call.
They pay a lot better, I bet.
I'm a girl. It's awkward. The interview just took a left turn. No, but yeah, your voice is very comforting and very makes me feel very secure about the information I'm getting. So no, I'm glad to hear that you are helping folks with mental health and and help them become better or help them get through what they may be going through at the time. So that's awesome. Now let me ask you this. So when you heard the first runner-up and then you heard your name as the winner, what immediately came to your mind? How did you react? Obviously, you probably went crazy, but what came to your mind?
I wasn't sure. I didn't know how I was going to react. And, it's one of those things where I had just put so much effort into it. I also am that person who always has imposter syndrome. So, Nikki at AAG is very clear that we're going to call the first alternate name and we want to give them their moment, which I think is amazing. So they had called out Karma's name and said, I'm the only one left. So obviously I've won the pageant. But in my head, the whole time, I'm like, anything could happen. Like, I don't know whose name they're going to call, but it very well might not be mine. And so then whenever she actually did call my name, there's a moment in the video where I dropped my head back into Angel because he's standing right behind me, and he had actually grabbed me and he was like, I've got you. Because there was just this moment of all the tension that I'd been holding up for the past 3 years of competing, and the constant thoughts of every time I go to the grocery store, walking through interview questions or what am I going to do for talent and where else can I put a rhinestone, was just, I didn't have to do it anymore for right now.
No, I gotcha.
Overwhelming relief of just, it's wild to think that you're just carrying that much tension inside you, just waiting to hear someone say your name.
No, but I
also
tell folks,
hoping they don't say your name.
No, and like I tell folks, it's when I tell, because I work for the Entertainer of the Year system, so basically, I tell my queens, I'm like, once you win that title, now you got to just immediately start thinking about your give up and getting those people, because it's no longer about you. It's about who's going to be the next person that's going to be called out as the winner. And folks are like, wow, that's but I'm like, no, it's the reality. It's your job is done. You won the title. Now it's to celebrate you and celebrate whoever winds up winning the title. So no, most definitely. So
true. I came home and took a few days to myself to kind of, try to find some sense of normalcy. And then I sent the money off for a step down gown and started thinking about what things are going to look like, because my prelims start in the end of October. So once those prelims start, June's going to be here before I know it. So I just want to make sure that I get a head start and I don't feel like I'm scrambling at the end when contestants are going to want to ask questions and they're going to want me to be that calming person. And if I'm not in a place to be so, I'm not going to be able to do that for them. So that's important.
Most definitely. All right, we're going to take another little break and we will be right back with Tabbi Katt, and this is Talk Mess with Adrian. And we're back. We're back with Tabbi Katt, and this is Talk Mess with Adrian. So, Tabbi, when you think of family, what are some of your thoughts when we say the term family, as in drag and drag families? What do you think?
It's a concept that I've always really admired. In St. Louis, where I started doing drag and the drag that I know, there are a couple of families, but for the most part, it's just not as prevalent for us. And so when you see the passing on of names, I picked up my name from Allie, and I say that she's my drag mother, but it's more of oh, that's my daughter, that's my mother kind of thing. But, we only worked together for the first time just this year, even as long as I've been doing drag. Okay. So we're friends, but it's just a different kind of feel. And so I feel like drag is more solitary for me. But I am envious of the people who have such a close family and people that are there to support them for every single thing they do. I have to find my friends that are going to show up. But I've definitely created a sisterhood through the pageantry system, and that's been really amazing for me. Just to have people who have a common interest and who believe in you and who push you and who tell you no when they need to.
Okay. Now, we're going to end the show with my one question I ask all my guests is, if Tabbi had the opportunity to go back in the past and speak to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself for the future?
Yeah, I think there's probably two things that I wish that I'd learned a lot sooner in life, and that was, trust yourself, and people don't really care what you have to think about, what you have to say about things. There's a lot of times when you're just better served just to let people think what they think, think what you think and go on about your business.
There you go.
It's really great.
I always tell folks, no one cares about what you do. It's, they'll give you your opinion because that's what we all feel, but at the end of the day, that's all on you. So, no, that's awesome. So, all right. So I want to thank you for being on the show today. I hope some folks will appreciate the information that you gave us on AEG and what your platform and what the future looks like. I want to thank you personally for doing this. And you are one of our first people that are going to be interviewed on this podcast. So thank you for starting us and helping us lead the way. So
thank you for including me. It's been great.
Awesome. So this was Tabbi Katt on Talk Mess, and this is Adrian. Have a great